Hi, people. It's Mark again, and I'm continuing my, I guess, data dump of information on our philosophical pursuit of purpose. And my posts are regarding objective evidence. I am not another evangelist trying to tell you that you need to have faith in this, that, or the other thing. Um, I'm trying to cut through some of the hyperbole and some of the profiteering and false prophesying that goes on in the apparent conflict between people who believe that the scriptures are 100% accurate and people who think that there's a conflict between what we discover through the sciences and what is written in the scriptures. Now, I am personally not of a belief that there is any conflict. And some of you are going to automatically say, "Oh, well, the Bible says that you pull this from the rib, but when we pull something from someone's rib and try to create a woman, it doesn't work. So how can you say it's accurate? And how can you say there is no conflict when what is written down in the scriptures doesn't work today?" Okay, well, it's actually not that difficult to understand how things could have worked in one instance and they don't work in a different instance. Um, and it's not fair to judge what scriptures are talking about or what we believe as a faith has happened and what is true by what we have today. See, you're conflating things like facts with truth. And there's another red flag. Some people are saying, well, if something's a fact, then it's true. No, that is neither a fact nor is it true. So let's dive into this a little bit and give me a chance to explain a little bit, because you have to have a little bit of study in the sciences to understand exactly what's going on in the sciences, because science has nothing to do with truth. Okay, science is not out trying to prove that any one thing is true. Let's talk. Let's go first of all objectively with, we're speaking a language right now. I'm in English. I don't know if this is going to be translated, but I'm going to go by the dictionary. I'm going to use Merriam-Webster, and let's talk about what truth is objectively. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 different definitions, and so that we don't get a discussion all confused, I'm going to pick one, because I could easily have picked capitalized truth is Christian Science. God is truth. Okay, there. I've just won my argument. No, I'm not going to go like that. Okay. As it relates to science, I'm going to use definition number 2 in Merriam-Webster, the property of being in accord with fact or reality. When you and I say something is true based on a scientific principle, we are using definition number 2 here, that the property it has the property of being in accord with facts and reality. Okay, this is paper. Okay, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's mashed up wood pulp, and glue. Well, okay, both of those statements are true. Oh, it has ink on it, so it's not all paper. Okay, so truth can be twisted if we don't set the table right off, and the table is set with the property and statement of being in accord with fact and reality. I'm saying this is paper. That is definition number 2. It is in accordance with fact and reality. Okay, there's the definition I'm going to go with. So, what does science have to do with truth? Well, let's go ahead and dive into the dictionary definition of truth, of science rather. And Merriam-Webster, once again, has 5 different sciences. One of them, of course, is Christian Science, when you say science. So, again, argument 1 by changing the language and definition. So I'm not going to do that either. We're going to stay within the realm of objective reality and of factual existing things, which is what rational people, who I'm targeting right now, try to govern their lives by. So let's look at some objective things. The definition that I'm going to use for science as it relates to scientific studies and the natural studies is knowledge or a system of knowledge covering the general truths or the operation of general laws, especially as obtained and tested through the scientific method. Okay, so covering general truth. So here's where part of the confusion is. See, when they say the truth in this definition of science, knowledge or a system of knowledge covering general truths or the operation of general laws as obtained and tested through scientific knowledge, which definition in Merriam-Webster are they saying when they say general truths? Okay. The body of true statements and propositions. Okay, that is a circular definition. We can't use that one in number 1C. A judgment, proposition, or idea that is true or is accepted as true, such as truth of thermodynamics. So they're using definition 1B, a judgment, proposition, or idea that is accepted as true. In other words, a collective of people with their own perceptions have said this thing is true. It is true that gravity exists. It is true that if I let go of this pencil, it will go in that direction. Oh, well, that's a fact. Okay, so that is true according to 1B, okay, is a truth of science. But the definition that we are looking for, what is true about, for example, where did life begin? Is there a God? Do we have a purpose? Okay, there is an answer to those that can be either true or not true. Yes, there is a purpose. No, there's not a purpose. Are either one of those true? First of all, what I'm trying to tell you right now is that those kind of questions cannot be answered by science, because science doesn't have anything to do with that kind of truth. The truth here that we specifically talked about, being in accord with fact or reality, is not what science can do. It's not something science can do. Let me try to stay focused on here. Okay. Knowledge or a system of knowledge covering general truths. Okay, we've established their truths as definition 1B. Okay, it is the generally accepted things that are true. Okay, so it's a system of knowledge based on what a group of people have accepted to be true. Did they accept it to be true because it is objectively true, or just because they came to an agreement that this is most likely true? Well, the answer is B. Okay, it's always going to be a consensus agreement that the community has decided gravity pulls things that direction. Okay. Is there a time in the past when I let go of this pencil and it fell up? Well, if Isaac Newton was sitting underneath the tree and the apple didn't fall down, but it fell up instead, then that would be a case. But he noticed that the apple fell down. And he seems to notice that through everything we've observed, things fall down. And so he accepts that it's true that things fall down. Okay, now, can we say that nothing ever fell up? Can we say that gravity never a billion years ago, or 5 zillion years ago, or 4.3 billion years of the age of the Earth, that nothing ever fell up, that gravity was not changed, that there's no force in the universe that could have ever altered the way gravity works, and then a pencil would have fallen up instead of down? That's not true. It's not true that that didn't happen, because it can't be known if it did happen. The facts that we have on the table tell us, like the pencils on the table, tell us that it can't happen today, therefore it didn't happen in the past. That's reasonable. Just like we've never seen a black swan, so all swans are white. that used to be true. They went to Australia, they found black swans. So, all right, let me try to stay on topic here. Okay, so what is science if it's not a discovery of truth? What science actually is, it's a system of knowledge as obtained and tested through the scientific method. So there is the key principle here. Everything that is included in this word science is obtained through the scientific method. And the scientific method is what is the key to determining whether or not science is giving us truths. For example, is it true that 2 billion years ago a pencil would have fallen up? Is it true that life was propagated from another planet in spores? Is it true that molecules assembled themselves into a cell? Is it true that the earth was created 10,000 years ago? Is it true that there was a global flood? Is it true that there's a divine creator looking over us? Those questions cannot be answered through the scientific method. And that is why I'm saying that science, as we use it and we apply it, is not in conflict with our concept of truth through the scriptures and through whatever your faith is, in fact. Okay? Science does not contradict your faith. Science is founded on a principle of faith. You have to have faith in the collective of people who decided what is true to begin with. It just gave you the very definition. A truth in the sense that science looks at it, definition 1b, is what is accepted to be true. And you have to have faith in those people, that they know what they're talking about. Well, they wear lab coats, they get paid a lot of money, and they're scientists, and they went to college. Therefore, I accept them. Okay, you can do that. Can they be wrong? Well, they have been. I mean, high cholesterol diets, low cholesterol diets. Fat's good for you, fat's bad for you, polyunsaturated fats. Eat this, don't eat that. Eat that, don't eat this. It changes as we make more discoveries. And that is the fundamental nature of science that you need to understand, is that science is always, 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 and forever open to question itself. There is nothing that has ever been published as a statement of truth through science that is gospel. Every scientific truth is open to be questioned again. And therefore, it's not a truth in the sense that you're looking for a truth. If you're looking for a truth as to where life came from, if you're looking for a truth as to whether your life has purpose, if you're looking for a truth as how old the universe is and where all this came from, if you're looking for the truth, is there life out there? Science is not the tool that can do that. It's like the optometrist can't give you market quote suggestions. Okay, it's a great tool. It does what it does. It produces facts. It will tell you that when you let go of this pencil, it'll tell you what direction it's going to go. And that's great. It's useful. And that is the purpose of science, is to produce utility. Science produces something that's useful, because heck, I don't want to have my paper right here because the pencil might hit it. Oh, no. Science already tells us the pencil's not going to hit it. Oh, thank goodness. Oh my goodness. See, I have predictability. I have control over my life. Science gave me that control. And that's what science gives us. But it will not tell you that the pencil didn't at some point fall up. It won't tell you that there isn't a force that we don't know about out there that reverses gravity. And then at some point it happened to us. I mean, it's been said many times that the only way to prove that kind of thing is with a time machine. Not with science. You can't. And science isn't designed for that, and that's not a conflict. Science is designed to question everything. The scientific method, Merriam-Webster, once again, principles or procedures for the systematic pursuit of knowledge involving recognition and formulation of a problem, the collection of data through observation and experiment, and the formulation and testing of hypotheses. 3 steps. First, ask you a problem. Ask you a problem. Okay, let's take a problem. Where did we come from? Where did life come from? Well, is it really a problem? Does it stop us from advancing as a people? Does it give us anything useful, or is it a philosophical warm fuzzy? I'm telling you that the question, where did life originate from, is a philosophical question. It has no bearing on us as a people. It doesn't tell us that we should eat that or we should not eat that. It doesn't tell us how we should live our lives or whether we should be driving electric cars or gasoline cars. It doesn't help us change weather patterns. It won't help us colonize Mars. It will not provide a future benefit. It will not provide purpose. Answering the question is, if you were to find the truth about where life originated from, there is one benefit from that pursuit, okay? But it is not a future benefit in itself. Well, first of all, science can't tell us that, okay? It will narrow down some possibilities. But I do want to share with you that last year, the who's this? The Royal Society in London announced a 10 million US dollar prize for artificial intelligence and origin of life. So their question they pose is, where did life and the genetic code come from? Can the answer build superior AI? The number one mystery in science now has a $10 million prize. So there's $10 million out for you if you can provide any evidence that shows where life originated from, but they're mostly paying for the origin of the genetic code because it contains information which, according to them, could revolutionize artificial intelligence and computing power. Now, if our computers became smarter and could evolve and could solve problems faster and more efficiently, that provides a real benefit. So what the Royal Society in London is actually saying is, we want to help humanity build better computers that can solve problems faster and then help and solve the problems of the world. Okay, so we've identified a problem. Science is the scientific method is pursuing a problem. The problem is whether it's world hunger, distribution, energy crisis, colonizing the moon, colonizing Mars. All these problems can probably be solved faster with better computers. And they recognize, since Francis Crick, that the genetic code is information compressed to a level that we can't even comprehend. The small transistors that we're making in supercomputers today are still clunky, archaic dinosaurs compared to the advanced information processing power of the genetic code. And so what the Royal London Society is saying is, we want to know where the genetic code came from so that we can analyze it and build better computers to solve world problems. That's worth 10 million US dollars to the Royal Society in London. Okay, they're not trying to answer the philosophical question about where life came from. They want to know if it's possible through physical means, through some kind of process, to build a genetic code, because then we could do one in a computer and then we could solve world's problems better. In other words, building a genetic code synthetically isn't working. We can't build a DNA molecule. We literally have to train bacterium to assemble these things. So you need life to make life. And that's still fundamentally true, as I said last week. All life comes from life. There is no life from non-life, no process. But they want to find one. They want to take a couple bottles of chemicals and put them in a petri dish and heat it up to a certain temperature and control the environment in a certain way, and then poof, out comes a genetic code, a supercomputer, something that will solve problems for them. That is science. That's real science. So $10 million, if anyone can find a way to mix up chemicals in a certain different way and produce a genetic code, a replicating molecule that can do processing and calculations. That's in the natural and physical world. That's a real world thing, and that is real science. But pursuing where life came from for your own philosophical purposes, what most both believers and non-believers look for, is not science. There's nothing that you're going to gain a benefit from if you find the answer to where life came from, unless you know how it came from. For example, let's say, which can't be done, I just read you the definition of science. It has to use real factual processes like gravity, like pencils fall down. Well, if God created the first living being, the first living animal, or whether he created a cell, and like the Catholics believe, and caused evolution, if God created it, you don't win the $10 million prize, because unless you ask God to build us a supercomputer, you're not going to do it again. You can't do what he did, or she. But so it's not useful to humanity to know the answer to where life came from. It is useful to know how a genetic code can be built. Okay, it's $10 million useful. Okay, and that will produce a benefit for society. But if you find out that there is a chemical soup that came together and formed amino acids in an environment where they could collect and find and formed a folding protein that assembled a cell, unless you have the process, nothing useful comes from that. It answers it gives you a warm fuzzy. It gives you nothing but a warm fuzzy. And if we pursue that, it shouldn't scare the faithful or the Christians, because as you can see, there's use for this information. It could make better computers. So yeah, go ahead, pursue it. Find out how a genetic code can be made. It doesn't prove how it was made, but it will prove how it can be made. And then we can use the genetic code, hopefully, as we study it, and we can make smarter computers, and we can solve many, many, many problems by having smarter computers. So science is looking at the natural world. By definition, science does not say that there is no God. It never will. It never can. It will not say that the world, the universe, or life, or humans were not created by the will of a being. It can't. I mean, the scientific method cannot possibly do that kind of thing. First, there's no problem. If life was created by a God, if an Adam and an Eve, Adam was created out of dust, life blown in through his nostrils, and then he was taken from his rib when he was asleep, sedated, and then Eve was created from that material. Okay, if that is a fact, science will neither confirm nor deny it, because we can't do the things that God does. We can't do what the being that created this universe, who lives outside this universe, did. He's not beholden to the laws of physics. He doesn't care that pencils fall down, because in his universe, pencils go wherever he wants them to go. He doesn't obey gravity. He doesn't obey physics. He doesn't obey thermodynamics. Those are things he made, like Rembrandt made paintings. They're his paintings. They're his creations. He doesn't obey them. Does a programmer obey his program? Does Henry Ford obey the laws of a car? That's silliness. The laws inside the universe that was created don't impact whatever or whoever created it. Those things are what we call supernatural. And by definition, super meaning outside of, above, and beyond the natural is beyond science. Okay, let's go back into scientific method again. Pursuit of knowledge involving the recognition and formulation of a problem. Okay. Problem we want. We have a philosophical desire We want a warm fuzzy to understand where we came from. It answers explanatory questions. Doesn't produce anything, nothing valuable, just warm fuzzies. So we want the warm fuzzy, and we're calling the lacking a warm fuzzy a problem right now. The atheists are saying, I want a warm fuzzy knowing that I am the most powerful person in control. And the faithful say, I want a warm fuzzy. There is a governing, overseeing, loving God that is in control. Well, all you who want the warm fuzzy, you're saying you have a problem. Okay, let's just say that's a problem. Your warm fuzzy, your missing warm fuzzy is a problem. The step 2 is the collection of data through observation and experiment. Observation and experiment. Okay, back the truck up. Okay, beep, 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 beep. Wait a second. Observation. We are going to observe. So let's just assume it is true for now. Let's just give that it's true. The creator of this universe created Adam, sedated him, put him to sleep, took a rib, and created Eve. Okay, right now, that is a fact of the world. And we're going to use a scientific method, and we're going to observe. What exactly are you going to observe? Are you going to put men to sleep, surgically extract the rib, and see if a woman grows out of it? I know what the outcome is going to be. I know that the scientific method is going to make you observe a bloody mess. Okay. Do you understand why the scientific method cannot do observation on the truth, if it is a truth, that the creator of the universe also created life? Okay. Collection of data through observation and experiment. What experiment are you going to do to walk through the Red Sea? Tell me what experiment you're going to conduct. I want you to sit on the banks of the Red Sea, and I want you to put together all of your knowledge, all of your physics, all of your thermodynamics, and I want you to do an experiment and get a video camera and record the Red Sea parting. Okay, scientific method. Not the right tool, I don't think. But let's go further. Let's say you came up with an idea, blowing winds, and I don't know, you came up with an idea, and you're going to park the Red Sea. Okay, let's do that. And you got a camera ready, you're going to observe it. Formulation of testing of hypotheses. Okay, now you're going to do that. You're going to part the Red Sea. You're going to turn the Nile River into blood. You're going to start a plague of locusts. Okay. Do you see where this is going? Do you see why the tool of the scientific method can never establish if the Red Sea was parted or not? It can never establish if woman was created from Adam's rib. It can never establish that the world was created in 7 days. It can never establish that it was not created in 7 days, because it relies on the scientific method. It relies on observation. Observation is the things that come into our senses. I smell something. I observe that spaghetti is cooking. I taste something. I observe that I had sausage for breakfast. I hear something. I observe that I'm sitting under a tree with a lot of wind blowing. I see something. I observe that I have a cute computer in front of me. So these things are our scientific method is bound by time, and only time that is now and in the future is observable. You can't use any of your 5 senses and go back 10,000 years, 5 million years, or 2 minutes to see what happened. You can't observe what has happened to your neighbor's house. You can't. 2 minutes ago, what happened to your neighbor's house? Okay. You can collect evidence. You can knock on the door and you can ask what happened in your house. And then you will have evidence from their testimony, and you have to base it on whether or not those people are liars. But you can't observe what happened in their house because it's past. It's gone. It's behind you. It's 2 minutes ago. So don't be startled when people are putting prizes out for origin of life science, and don't be startled that there might be some kind of discovery in origin of life science. Don't be happy when there isn't a discovery in origin of life science, because those things that are just seeking a warm fuzzy about where we came from are for the faithless. Only the faithless are looking to science to either prove or disprove that God created us or that accidents created us. When you're using science, you will never know. You will never know what happened 2 minutes ago in your neighbor's house. You will never know what happened thousands of years ago in the Garden of Eden. You will believe what happened there, and you will only always and forever have what you believe. You will believe what happened in your neighbor's house 2 minutes ago because you trust your neighbors. Okay. You can believe what happened in the Garden of Eden because you trust your Creator. Okay. There's no difference. There's no difference. Do not applaud the failures of science, and do not applaud the successes of science. They aren't proving that God doesn't exist. It's not possible for them to. They aren't proving that God does exist. It's not like when this test fails, that means life is a miracle. It's also not true that when this test succeeds, it means that life was not a miracle thousands, millions of years ago. It doesn't mean that. It means that when you do this test in the future, it's going to have this result. When you hold this pencil up and let it go, it's going to fall. It doesn't say anything about what happened in the past, and it never can, because you need scientific method. You need observation and experiments. If you didn't observe it, it's not scientific. And if it passed, you didn't observe it. Okay, well, I'm welcoming whatever comments you have, and that's my little 2 bits for today. And I hope you enjoy it, and just be happy with your faith, your convictions. Atheists have faith. Christians have faith. Muslims have faith. We all have faith. So one inescapable truth is that we all have a faith. Science has faith in its scientists. Science has faith in its experiments. And science is always and forever questioning its own reality. And so there is no truth through science. You will never obtain truth through science. You'll obtain facts. You will obtain the comfort of knowing what happens when you let go of the pencil. Be happy with that. Peace out.